Hello and welcome back to another episode of me playing Project Arrhythmia. This time I have 3 levels picked out that are all somewhat similar aesthetic-wise, but also each individually quite different to each other. And I thought it'd be nice to take a look at them and sort of compare each of them to each other and contrast their differences and unique aspects, despite all having an overall similar aesthetic style to them. So yeah, let's head on in. The first level I have for us to play today is Hopeless Romantic, song by Fearofdark, level by Snugboat. A simple Game Boy themed level. Yes, I know the song is actually fit to NES standards. Game Boy looks cooler. Fair enough. Don't forget to listen to Fearofdark's other tracks after playing. I might actually do that, because I do very much like the song. A nice start. You can see the color's already strong, so like we're in a Game Boy screen. You cannot go outside the square because that will hurt you. It can be very easy to dash into stuff. Now, I have been using a controller recently, but I am a lot more used to WASD controls since that's what I played with for a very long while. And this level definitely is one that benefits a bit from that in some sections. So I might switch back and forth on this controller between using the joystick and that. These hearts are very funky the way they move. They just sort of instant snap to the next spot. So you have to be careful. They don't actually move in a usual animation sense. But that's really cool. It's part of the aesthetic of this. This is actually somewhat of a difficult level. Yeah, here's a section where I definitely need to have left and right specific. I should have dashed much earlier. Nope. I fail. Maybe let's try not using it. See if maybe I can do better without it. I don't know if that's any better without it, really. I might just stick to what I know works. Oh, fuck. No, this is not going well. I have not played this one in a very long while. Oh, that's right. The trick to this one is actually ducking out inside these waves. As long as you're smart about it, which I'm not always necessarily smart about this. God, don't go off screen. This part's good. A little bit more freedom. Oh god, careful of the tiny bullets. But yeah, you can see this level's like got a very simple aesthetic style. It's mostly just like most of this is just made with squares. You know, that's pretty much it. But it works visually very well because the color choice and the theming is very clearly. Oh fuck. The color and theming actually is just it's all to the theme of the level, this sort of Game Boy-esque style. And yeah, it works really well. I'm definitely dying a lot more than expected to be, but I have not played this level in a very long time, so you know what? That's probably why. Sure. Here we go. Oh god. This last section is definitely one of the more chaotic bits. I was not watching the top of the screen. Oh. Bugger me. Also, this ending is just really funky. The way it comes to the heart, and then... Thanks for playing. So yeah, that was this Hopeless Romantic by Snugboat. I actually once drew a character design based off of this level. I might actually show that here if I remember to do that. But yeah, overall, it definitely has some of its age clear. Some of the attacks are a bit fast, but overall, aesthetically and It's fairly simple, like you can see what's coming for the most part, and visually it's a really just simple but nice and beautiful level. Snugboat's definitely really good with working with something very simple and creating something very beautiful out of it. Now the next level, I can't remember if it's older. It might be older. I have to find it. Honestly, this entire list is somewhat of a mess at times. It's supposed to be from newest to oldest, but it doesn't actually sort that well. There's definitely levels that are older showing up much higher, and levels that are newer ending up all the way at the back of the list. Of course it was on the same list that I was as the first level. Of course I missed it. Right in front of my face. Okay, but yes, the second level we have to play is Corrupted, a song by Danimal and Zeph, I think? I could be wrong. But yeah, this is a level by Momad. They have not made levels in a decent while, if I remember correctly. This is a very funky level and an old gem that is also in a similar style to Hopeless Romantic, but also very different, as you'll see. The long pause, I decided to make another level. There's not much else to say about this, so enjoy. Also, heads up, this one has a lot of flashing that might be a bit much for some people, so slight epilepsy warning for this level, especially more towards the end. So yeah, you can see we're starting off with a very similar... Oh. A similar sort of Game Boy-esque style here. And the motion of the cubes, very linear, but interesting how it just pops out into the bombs. There's also hints of something else here. If you notice... Oh god. Yeah, the flashing can be a bit much, depending on how sensitive you are to stuff like that. But yeah, there's a flash of... Yeah. Also, this section's really funky, because it gets you to interact. You obviously have to pay attention to those beams and not get caught out by them, but also pay attention to this other attack. It will always hit everyone on the screen. Make sure you're lined up for it and ready. They happen one after each other, so despite attacking like so much of the screen at once, it's not too overwhelming for you. And now we're getting close to the build-up. What hit me there? Genuinely, what hit me there? I thought I was plenty away from the circus, but did they go, like, bigger? That was weird. I'll have to watch that back later. Yes, this is a build-up that might seem familiar to some people. But also different, as you'll see in a sec. I am probably going to die here. I do not... Yep, there it is. I know myself too well. This is a really cool section, how the level just takes a quick and sudden turn to something different but similar in its own way. God, come on, get through. And, oh! This is a good situation for use of zooming out. Ooh. Because, yeah, I was expecting to die there. Because obviously, now there's two of them, and it's a lot more dangerous, but at the same time, they make sure to give you a lot more space to actually get around. That actually works really well. It's like, okay, I'm going to do somewhat more crazy attacks. Let's make sure to give the player room to breathe and survive. Yeah, another really cool level by Momad. It's an older level, but it plays with a lot of, like, the idea of the switching back between the sort of the Game Boy-esque style and then the more Project Arrhythmia sort of, or what a lot of people do in Project Arrhythmia at least, with the orange and the background objects as well being a thing in the background. Like, the contrast between the two is very interesting to see, and it adds a lot of life to the level that, you know, just having one or the other might not necessarily bring. And it sort of fits in with the sort of the corrupted, like the song name itself. Sort of like it's glitching back and forth between these two states. Yeah, just another really good level. The final level, which I should be able to find a lot quicker, is... oh god. Ah, yep. Pictured as Perfect by Frums. A level by... oh god, not that name again. I'm going to... I think it's Khedudcem? I still don't know if I'm completely correct on that. Technically my first level, but it also technically isn't. Huge thanks to Xenon for help with one of the transitions. Yeah, this is a very funky level. Another sort of glitchy, retro-styled level. Yeah, without further ado, let's get into it and show off what it's like. Also, large epilepsy warning for this song. There are some very, yeah, flashy visuals here, which can be difficult to keep track of. And the attacks in each section are pretty consistent, and like the warnings are actually really good. As long as, yeah, you don't get too distracted by focusing on one thing or another. Ow. I was not paying quite enough attention. I was too close to that. And here we go. Fair warning, don't... definitely try to avoid being close to those. They're made with... I think they're made with elastic easing, so they snap out... you can see they slightly snap out further than the warning shows. That's something that you might want to adjust. But otherwise, this is a very funky song. It's very weird and abstract, and the level itself works well with that. Playing around with the unique visuals and... like this beam isn't necessarily dangerous on its own, but the fact that those shapes are constantly changing their position. If you say so. Oh god. Yeah, this final section is crazy. So, stay in the gaps away from the thing... ah, fuck, I died. The way to survive this section is to stay away from the shapes, because they'll blast... as you can see, they blast larger. It's actually such a really cool way to make the background be the way that you can tell where these shapes are. It's difficult to see, yeah. But not enough that you can't avoid it. As long as you pay attention. Which I'm not entirely doing the best job of right now. But it's a really cool level. And, whew, that's a lot of flashing. That's a lot of flashing. Max size grain. But overall, the visuals of that level are very interesting. Like, the song is a really cool pick. And they actually theme the level around the song itself, because the video of the song has similar colors and similarly trippy visuals. And it's honestly really cool how they worked those visual concepts from the video into the level itself. It's only a fairly short level, but it's a really good one nonetheless. And yeah, like, honestly, it's interesting that these three different levels, like, they each take a sort of glitchy or retro style, but the way each approaches it is very different. Where Hopeless Romantic focuses more on the Game Boy side and sort of that sort of step motion and very concretely to that sort of blocky nature. That's all like a nice, neatly contained package. Then Corrupted might have some similar colors and aspects in some of its stuff, but then it plays with a whole nother side of things where the colors just completely flip back and forth between two different styles that seem opposing but also like just work really well visually together, even though it's you never see both at the same time, but the switching back and forth works really well. And then Pictures is Perfect is just full-on visual intensity, but never to the point of being too much that you can't process the attacks coming. And that's something that is hard to balance, actually. Really hard to balance. As certainly there are definitely many levels that will attest to that, having so much visual information that it's difficult to keep track of. But because the attacks in Pictures is Perfect are so straightforward and clear even against the crazy backgrounds, it does a really good job of balancing that difference between visually intense and fun gameplay. But yeah, so those are my thoughts. And another fun episode of 3 pretty cool levels that I don't think I've seen others cover quite as much. If you have levels you might be interested in seeing me play, be sure to let me know, either Discord or in the comments or whatever. And I will see you next time. See ya!